Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Today there are no names, so we're going to have to introduce everyone in person. So first of all, my friend Walid Abutaye, who is going to introduce the other two members, please. Go ahead.
My name is Walid Abutaye. I'm from Nazareth. I living in Jerusalem 45 years ago, and I also live in USA, Florida, and also in Ramallah. I'm involved in the international law and in the Israeli law and accounting and international relationship and political science. I am now making a campaign for the OADSL, one democratic state in from the river to the sea. So this is my idea. There is people who like to have one state, and I found that the only solution is one state from the river to the sea to the both sides of the
Uh-huh.
two nation.
Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. And I would like to add that Walid contacted me and suggested that we start this new channel, which we have called One State. And the lady on the panel today, your name is Ofra, I believe. Can you please introduce yourself briefly?
Sure. My name is Ofra Yeshua Laid. I'm a retired journalist, and I've been supporting one democratic secular state for many years.
Excellent. And another friend, Gassan, please introduce yourself very briefly.
My name is Ghassan Alayan. I'm a Palestinian activist and an author. That's
Excellent. Okay, great. So, what's on the agenda? What are we going to talk about?
Just a minute. You have to put the logo of the one state, yes?
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's there.
Okay. I just want to ask Ofra if she's can introduce herself, what she done, and I know that she's an author and she's was involved in politics, and sometimes she was favor of the two state, and now she's for
No,
one state.
never. I never supported.
So perhaps we should ask you, why are you in favor of one state? Why? Why one state? Why not two? Ofra.
Okay.
You're asking me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm asking you.
I will explain. My whole involvement in this issue come from inside as an Israeli Jew, and my only problem with the state I live in is when I had to find out that it defines itself by a religion, which I find very problematic. I'm against any kind of religious state: Christian state, Catholic state, Islamic state, and Jewish state. So being against the Jewish state left me no other option than to join the groups that support secular democratic states.
Uh-huh.
We had some conferences and several organizations that try to push this idea. It's not a new idea. If you look at the PLO charter from back in the 60s, I think in the 70s, they always supported a one secular democratic state, and they left it at some stage. But I'm still in support of this.
Okay, so let me ask you. You know, many Israelis believe that if there is one state, then the Arabs are going to slaughter and kill all the Israelis as soon as that state is declared. Don't you think that's true?
I'm against violence. I'm against Arabs slaughtering Jews. I'm against Jews slaughtering Arabs. I think both things are happening all the time.
But as a Jew, we were told that the Arabs cannot be trusted. Have you never heard that? Growing up in Israel, like I have?
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I didn't talk enough about my origins, perhaps. I'm an Arab Jew. And, you know, some Jews come from Arab countries, so we're not really impressed with the idea that there is something seriously wrong with being an Arab.
Yeah, I have just one note. You told us that Israel is a religion state, but the Jew is not just religion; it's also nation. Before 200 years, really, it was religion. But after the 20th century, they changed the Jews from religion to nation. And they believe, the Jewish believe, that they are a chosen people, that God shows the people to be the perfect people or the good people. And they thought also, the Jews thought that God promised them. What's your idea about this?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in God. I think God is a kind of an imaginary figure that lots of people like to talk to or to talk about. So I don't believe in God. And as far as the Jewish community, all over, for 2,000 years, they lived very happily without the idea of nationality. And I don't think they've been helped by calling themselves a nation, which is what Zionism pushed very hard. I mean, if you look at the very early Zionist scriptures, they say we have to turn the Jews into a nation. I think this was, first of all, it didn't happen. And second, it wasn't a good idea. I have a book saying a Jewish state is a bad idea.
May I interfere,
yes,
as
please.
I believe they are trying to let us feel that Jewish is a nation. It is not a nation. It is a religion.
Yeah.
And religion is still the religion. No way the religion will come as a nation. This is the normal, and this is, primitive. Other than this, the idea of heat and the Palestinian or Arabs will kill the Israelis or the Jewish, this is only a lie. Once, I'll take, one example from my experience myself. During the last few years, and I was with the different army from different categories actually, and after they arrested me, by the way, they took me to Hadassah hospital because there was a high tension, or the high pressure, blood pressure, hypertension they call it. And just during this, they've been to me. Oh, sorry, I have to close the window. Shall I close it right now?
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Just one second.
You see, that's very good. So, Ofra, what do you think? I mean, many Israelis would say, you see, if it was one state, then they're gonna make us become Muslims, and they're gonna have laws. They're gonna be the majority, and they're gonna pass laws that will force you to wear a burqa, and women are treated badly because that's how Islam is, and the Arabs are violent by nature. I want to hear. I mean, I don't believe it, but I know most people in Israel have been brainwashed to believe it. So, what can you and I tell them? How can we show them that how can we talk some sense into them?
Well, Ghassan just said they're trying to convince us that religion, Jewish is a. But first of all, they have to convince us. That means to convince the Jews that they are a nation. As I told you before, I support a secular state. I don't think you can have a democracy without secularism. I don't believe, I would not like to be forced to be either Jewish, religious, or Muslim, or anything.
The thing is, sorry, but are you suggesting that Walid and Ghassan want a one state which is not separated from religion?
I don't know. I know.
So let's ask them.
All I'm telling.
I think the religion. I don't want a religious state. I want a secular state. But every person have the link to the God with himself. It's personal. If he want to be religion, he can be religion. If he want to be secular, he can be secular. It's for himself. Nobody, the state doesn't interrupt this relation. This relation has to be with everyone. Not to. We have not to have a religion state.
Yeah. And what about Ghassan? Do you think it should be a religious state, or should it be separated? religion
Well,
from state?
I believe, for example, all the Arab states, it's supposed to be non-religious, because even they are saying, for example, the religion of Egypt is Islam, for example, but it is not ruling by Islam. The religion of Jordan, it is Islam, but they are not ruling for Islam. The religion of Palestine, maybe they will say it's Islam, but they are not ruling by Islam.
غسان صوت شوي صوت اذا بتقدر شوي.
صوتي عالي ولا صوتي
عالي عالي، لا صوت الاذان، يعني صوت الاذان.
اوكي.
Okay. I would ask Ofra.
Let me continue. If you like, I can stop right now.
I don't mind the muazzin in the background. Seriously, it doesn't. I could barely hear it. Carry on.
Okay.
It's okay. I mean, this is normal. This is from the I mean,
but in the new state, will this will any mosque be allowed to do this in Tel Aviv and everywhere in the new country? It's perfect what's happening here. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, just let me continue. So, according to me, we have not to specify whether it is secular or, certain religion. It's by default will be secular, because normally nobody is ruling with the let's just say religion. Even in Israel they are not following they are saying that we are Jewish state, but they are not going according to the Jewish state, because they have courts and they have. They are not ruling according to Bible. They are using the civil law, but they are saying that we are a Jewish state. Maybe they are looking for the future to apply the restricted Bible law in the future.
Okay,
but as I see, it's not.
Okay, so he says he wants a secular state. That's clear. Okay.
Yeah. The word secular is negative in Arabic. We have a problem like this in every group we have. Just to say you are Almani is pejorative.
Okay, Ofra, I have to ask you two questions, two small questions. You have written a book about what's name Eretz Brit. And please, you can
politically incorrect.
Yeah, you can let us about. And the second question is about the Zionism. What about the national Jewish Zionists? It's a communist or it's a national movement? What's your idea about the nationality of the Zionists, and if we against the Jewish, are we against? If we against Zionists, we are against anti-Semitism. Please, what's your idea about this?
Zionism and Judaism, if I understand.
Yes,
what's the difference between Zionism and Judaism, if there is a difference?
Yeah.
Well, there is a very great difference. As you said before, Walid, I think a religion is a very private thing. It's not something that we should let politics take over. I don't think religion should have any means to impose itself with violence. Once you take violence out of the religion and out of the, once you separate and say everybody. I can be a religious person. I'm feng shui. I can believe whatever I want. So, but the problem is once you get one religion that dictates everything, and because as you pointed out, I looked into the Jewish state, and Ghassan, you might be right that officially Israel has courts of law, etc. But as we're seeing now, it called itself a Jewish democratic state, which is, as far as I'm concerned, there is no such thing. There is no such thing as a Muslim democratic state. There is no such thing as a Catholic democratic state. And there shouldn't be anything like a Jewish democratic state. Now we see these days more than even before, lots of Israelis are beginning to understand that the fact that there is so much Judaism in their environment and in their curriculum and in the legal system, eventually, I don't know what they want, but they want. You talk about courts of law. Courts of law now are demanded to take after the Jewish law, the Jewish religion. All this, I think it's garbage.
Okay, let me ask you, Ofra, please. What do you think about? I mean, I feel I'm a minority in Israel. I feel I'm a minority in Israel. I know a lot of secular Israelis, intelligent people who have been brainwashed like everyone else and are unaware of the brainwash. And if I was to say to them, you're brainwashed, they're going to go, what are you talking about? That's exactly how a brainwashed person speaks. He doesn't know. He will never admit he's brainwashed. So the brainwash in Israel, let's start with the most basic one, is the fact that we have taken the land of the Palestinians. I mean, not we, but my grandparents. And they fought against them, and they killed the Palestinians, who killed the Israelis. But the Israelis won, the Jews won, and the result of it is what we see now, which is Gaza and the West Bank and refugees all over the place. But the Israelis didn't exterminate or kill the whole of the Palestinian nation. There's like 8 million of them only in this territory, and then there's another 5 million in exile. So there's plenty of Palestinians. So what do the Israelis think? So nobody talks about it, as you see. It's been avoided. Nobody mentions it. Many stories were invented that the Palestinians in Gaza and West Bank arrived over the last 50 years or something from Jordan. Some ridiculous stories, and people are living in a dream here. What do they expect? I mean, what do Israelis expect? That we will just carry on fighting forever? I mean, look where it got us. There's refugees in Israel, from the north of Israel, young people fighting in Gaza. I mean, where is all this going, as far as you're concerned, Ofra? What do you think?
As far as I'm concerned, I fully agree with you that we are brainwashed. And Walid mentioned the book I wrote. I wrote it in English first, and the title I chose was A State of Mind. Publishers didn't like it. But later I found out that somebody did a film called A State of Mind, but it wasn't about Israel, it was about North Korea. So the idea of brainwashing people into a political belief is not new at all. I mean, the idea of all nations being imagined communities and etc. is not new. People have been recognizing it. Unfortunately, I agree with you. Israelis are very much sold into the idea that they are a very special nation. All I can do is I can say from, the height of my age, I'm older than all of you, and I say, this is just a lie. I was educated on these lies. My parents were born in this country. My grandparents came here maybe 100 years ago. They're all dead. But they had a dream which was pushed by a group of politicians that sold them an idea of having a very just society, but really it was a colonial settler community.
What do you think about the idea when, part of the brainwash is, we have such a small country, we the Jews, they have all these other countries. Why don't they go back to their countries and leave us, poor Jews, in our little country? What do you think of that?
Well, as I told you, I don't believe in this collective we. I could call myself, I'm more a woman, and I'm partly an Arab, and I can be lots of things. I do not think I belong in the same group than some people in the Israeli government at the moment. I just don't belong there. That's all.
I wonder. I wonder. I mean, Walid, if we were just to play a game now, and let's say theoretically, hypothetically, that you and Jassan are gonna go back to where you allegedly came from. So be honest. Where would you go?
I don't know. Maybe to Egypt or to Jordan. Maybe my grandfather, some of them told us that we come from the Egypt. Some another grandfather told us that we come from Jordan. But it's not the question. The question is who living now.
Yeah, no, but I mean, how many generations ago? So how many generations have your family been here? That's the question.
I tell you what,
400,
Michael,
500 years.
500 years. 500 years. It's a long time.
Yeah. I tell you what, all of us, Ofra, she mentioned that she's an Arab and she came, her family came from the Arab country. Maybe also the same for me, since maybe as we mentioned, 500 or 1,000, I don't know. They came from Tunisia, for example. So shall I go to Tunisia first? Ofra, she came after me. She has to go return back to her country first. And
but she's Jewish. She's the chosen one. What do you mean?
Yeah, yeah, the chosen one according to their brainwash. This is something, as we mentioned. Just I was, just mentioning, I the story that I met, some soldiers during my visited me for a few days. During this, I'm with them. It was about for 4 days. They opened their hearts to me actually, and they told me all the story that we are hating them. I mean, the Arabs. They learned that the Arabs hates the Jewish, and they want to kill them, and they want to throw them to the sea. This is, the stereotype they have in mind, and it was really in their mind. After they treated me and they found me, I am a person with them, and I told them that the three religions is the same, that you are looking from the same window but from different angles. You are looking to the Islam from here, you are looking to Judaism from here, you are looking to Christian from here. It's the same. And by the way, it was one of them was Christian and one was Jew and I was Muslim. I told them the same stories available in all the religions. I understand because I scanned all the three religion here. I found the same stories, the same narrative, the same almost the same names, but different location. So when I've told them about their stories, they thought this is my story. I told them this is our story because the religion is the main reason who can unified us or make us a diversity. It can throw different ideas from here and there, but it is the same religion actually, or the same stories. And if we, nowadays return back to the root of Islam or Judaism or Christianity, we'll find the same, almost the same root, almost same. Yeah, almost. Yeah. So
okay.
Just a minute.
Yeah, so they felt, that this is a new story. I told them this is an old story. This is not a new story. But now you understand that I am an Arab because I am the only person who had, who has, let us say, a time to explain to you. I used to speak with them in English because they like that, they speak English, they learn English, which is good for them. So they listen. I was under arrested, but I was also as a teacher. So they used to appreciate me anyway, yes. And they felt that they changed their mind. The brainstorm, the brainwash. They used to have. I think I changed, and I got to know how they are. They told me how they are working in the military, what's their task, and I'm talking about. Normally, they told me their story.
Okay, it's clear. Ghassan, we understand. Ghassan, Walid, you wanted to ask something?
Yes, I want to ask Ofra important question. The Jewish question or the Jewish issue was in Europe. And there was Jewish in Russia and Germany and the West of Europe, East England and Spain. They have some problem with native people from Russia and the Holocaust, and the nation people or the question, the Jewish question, start to with the Zionism movement after the Jabotinsky, when he told that the indigenous people didn't let anybody to take his land. So when the Jewish people get out from Europe, from Sfarad, from all of them go to the Arab country. And they have problem in Russia and all of Europe and Spain, and they get them out, and most of the Jewish go to the Arab nation. So the Arab can. My question is: the Arab can contain the Jewish nation if it's not, in spite that. Who make the problem for the Jewish? Who's the European, not the Islam or not the Arab world?
I'm not sure I understood the question, but
I understand because I heard him ask it. He's basically asking you. He's saying, you know how the Jews were persecuted and they ended up in Arab countries, living in Arab countries. So
a Jewish nation, which I don't think exists.
Sorry, no, the Jews. He's saying, you know how Jews lived in Morocco
and
in Iran and other places. So he's trying to get you to say why they were not killed, persecuted, and exterminated whilst living amongst Arab Muslims in Arab countries. So can you talk about that?
Look, I consider the Jews a community which is specialized by its religion, but also it has a social. Economic model. I'll tell you one thing: the Jews were different in Europe and in all the Arab countries. They could read and write. This is something that the majority of the native people in Europe, in Poland, in Russia, in Egypt, or in Palestine, they couldn't. They were just a small minority. The Jews excelled themselves because they forced their religion forced them to read and write. So they became a kind of middle class, and they became unpopular because of that. So this unpopularity followed them in many countries, also in Arab countries. I don't see. I mean, they had problems in most countries. They complained about the problems for Jews in Iraq, in Morocco, in Yemen, everywhere. But what I'm telling you is that I look at the Jews as a group, as a social strata, which was very successful for many years until the rest of the natives learned to read and write. And then this model of being literate and being able to read and write and make work in banks and commerce, it wasn't so special anymore. So in the 19th century, the Jews in Europe were very, very poor. In the Arab countries, they still kept the position.
We're missing the point here, but maybe we can go back to talking about the one state, Ofra. How do you see it happening? How many stages? What is involved? Who's going to do it? How is it going to happen? When? For how long? Tell me.
Look, I'm not in politics. All I'm telling you is that I know what is wrong with the current situation. I think the Israeli, the kind of education, the kind of structure that Israel put itself into is impossible. You know, a Jewish state is a state where you have, first of all, there are not many people know that, but even if you're an Israeli Arab citizen, if you're a citizen of Israel and you're not Jewish, you're a different kind of citizen. You have citizenship by right of residency and not citizenship by right of return. A group of us, old people, some of us are already dead, we applied to the Supreme Court and say we want to have an Israeli nationality. Even this was rejected because the state said this goes against the very basic of the state. So I'm saying, let's take it one step at a time. My first interest is when Israel was still a state. I don't know what it is now in the war around us all the time. But first of all, we have to separate religion and state, or church and state, as you say in English. And the second thing is we need to have one citizenship nationality. I was very disappointed when the OECD accepted Israel, although it has a clear rule that they do not accept into the European community any state that discriminates against some citizens. What I'm saying is, first of all, let us get rid of the Israeli apartheid. I think this is the first priority. How many states will come out of it? I don't know. You can have 10 states as far as I'm concerned, but they all have to be secular and democratic. That's all I have to say.
With a constitution?
Well, they'll find a way to do it. They might have a constitution, they might not. Never mind. You can be.
Yes, Walid?
Did you see the Zionist movement is a colonialist one, as a colonialist nation?
What's the question?
Which film? What is it in Hebrew?
Is the Zionist movement a colonialist movement?
Are the Zionists colonialists?
Zionist.
Oh yes, this is not a new concept. It's been written about by many people, Israelis as well. Yes,
Okay.
I think I already used this term during our conversation. I say this is a settler colonial community, and we have to come to terms with it.
Okay.
And this is served the Christian movement, evangelism, no?
Some evangelists in the US think it's a great idea to have a Jewish state. Yes, I mean I have a friend. I have to tell you, I'm about to. I edited a collection of articles by a very good friend of mine who's passed away. Unfortunately, his name is Eli Aminu. Ghassan, I think you knew Eli.
Yeah,
And he it's from him that I know something that most people in Israel don't know. The idea of Zionism, the idea of having a Jewish state, was first of all a French idea and then an English idea. So it was Napoleon's people and the great-grandfather of Winston Churchill that suggested, let's get all the Jews from Europe and let them build a state in Palestine. And this will be a way for the colonial powers to control the area.
So in this idea, we can make one democratic state, one secular state, with the Zionist ideas.
I think as long as you have so many people who are brainwashed on both sides, because I don't think the Islamic movement is any more democratic than the Zionism.
Yeah.
So we do have a problem, and it's an international problem. You look at the world, democracy is not a great thing anywhere. I don't know what's going to happen. My only advantage here is being very old.
Okay, right. Is there anything else we want to talk about, Walid? I think we've covered most of the subjects.
What do you see about this current situation? What do you see about this conflict? Because for me, I think that there's no solution. Just one democratic state. It's enough for us. We have to reach a historical reconciliation. It's enough bloodshed for more 110 years. We can't cancel the Jewish here in our country, and the Jewish they can't cancel us. So we have no resolution. Just we have to sit together and to have one country for both of the people from the river to the sea.
Yeah,
Inshallah, Walid.
Inshallah.
inshallah.
From
Okay,
your mouth to you're our imaginary friend.
Yeah, God.
You call God.
The alleged God. I mean, would you like to add anything, Ghassan, before we conclude?
Yes, actually, we are living in one state, or almost a colonial state, which is Israel, because Israel is not only, we are occupied in West Bank, even in Gaza, and, so we have different classes of people here. So what we are looking for is to have one state with equal rights for all its citizens, and it's supposed to be a democratic state, so we can have one parliament, we have one rules, and we have one regulation, and we have one courts for everybody, that they treat everybody the same, one police department for the same for everybody, one army for all. This is what we are looking for. And I think it is a little bit far away, because we have, different brainwash here and there. So this is what I'm looking for. I hope it will be soon.
And
Thank
I have a... Okay, continue, please.
Yes, Walid?
I would like to ask another important question. In the one state, what about the situation of the right of return for the refugee? If it's a very important thing, I think the refugee question is, is the vote for one person, one vote in the one state?
So let's start with the refugees, Ofra. Should they come? Should they return or not?
I think I'll take it in. First of all, I wanted to tell you long ago that actually one state already exists. There is one state. There is one state. The problem, as Ghassan pointed out, that it is a state which has a different rules for different people. And one of the rules is, you're not allowed to go back to the place where you used to be. And every political group I belonged to believed in the right of return for Palestinians, and I don't think that should even be a problem. There are so many solutions suggested to this. There are organizations that are thinking about it. Is it easy? It's not easy, but the current situation is not easy either for anybody.
And what's about the election? The election.
I think it's a rhetorical question. He's asking, would you like one person, one vote? Obviously you do. I mean, yes. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay. No. Of course, yeah. Well, it's called democracy.
Exactly. Okay, now maybe just one last thing. What about people who would say to you, Ofra, well, if you let the 5 million refugees return, then the Muslim Arabs will be the majority in the new one state, and that is absolutely awful and terrible for the Jews. I don't know why, but that's what many people have seemed to think. So what would you tell them? How would you ease their fears?
I would not try to ease their fears. I will remind them that the Zionists moved into this country. They were a tiny minority, and they managed. I think lots of Palestinian Muslims, especially Palestinian women, have no interest in the continuation of the Islamic patriarchy. And, I'm not saying it's easy. But, I don't think the situation we are in is any better.
And I heard also another idea that if the refugees are, if there's a majority, then obviously Jews are not going to like it. But what about people who say that the terrorists, that like Hamas, for example, will never let this happen? So even if the majority of Jews and Arabs say we want to have one state, they'll do it. But then the Hamas or Jihad or some other extremists are just going to screw up the whole thing. Can you imagine that happening?
I'm really against violence and terrorism, but I think it's about time, and I think many Jews realize now that we have too many Jewish terrorist groups. We had a terrorist for a prime minister. I once said it on a mainstream Israeli television. There was an Israeli prime minister who in his past was a terrorist and a murderer. We murdered Jews. I'm talking about Yitzhak Shamir. He murdered Arabs, British, and Jewish people, and he became prime minister. Things change with politics. I don't know how politics is going to be changed, but I don't think I don't equal terrorists and Arabs. I already said that I don't like any religious political movement, whether it's Islamic or Jewish home, whatever.
Clear. I would like to ask Ghassan then.
Yeah, can I add in this for the point? Yes, as Ofra said, if there is a explosion and oppression, and bad treatment and apartheid and ethnic cleansing, this will lead to something you can't imagine. Because if you have no dignity, or if I have no dignity, I have the right to do whatever I can. But if you give me my rights, I think I am more civilized than you.
Okay. Great. I'll try and ask a question which I believe Israelis would appreciate. So, Walid or Ghassan, let's put it this way. I'm imagining, I heard, I don't know what the Hamas's agenda is, but I heard that they claim that they are fighting for their people, for the Palestinian people. So if I was a Palestinian and I heard that there's this organization that is fighting for wrongdoings in my respect, even though they are horrific and they are doing it in a very violent way, which I oppose to, I could still identify with the idea that they are fighting for me. Okay, although I wouldn't do it the way they do it, I understand it. Now, has anyone ever asked the Hamas what their opinion is about a one-state solution? Do you know, Ghassan? What would they say?
I believe they are supporting one-state solution from river to the sea.
Supporting
the Hamas?
Yeah, Hamas.
Okay. Wow. I'm glad I asked this question. What about you, Walid? Do you think so?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, but their idea is one state which is Muslim. We're going back to the reason why I'm for a secular state.
No, but hang on a minute. So, maybe I misunderstood. So, are you saying, Ghassan, that the Hamas want a one-state solution from the river to the sea, but not including the Jews in it?
No. Why not? They agree. They respect the Jews as a religion. As a religion, we have in the history, Islamic history, we have an agreement between Prophet Muhammad and the Jew, and we accept the Jew. And also the same thing when for example, if we take the South Africa, Mandela, he liked to live with the British also till now. He doesn't want to get out the British. The same thing. We believe in the Jewish religion, because the Jewish is called according to our religion Ahl al-Kitab, of the book. We believe in the Jewish.
Yeah, I understand. That's you. But somebody told me that in the Hamas's manifest, it says that they want to annihilate Israel off the face of the earth, including the Jews.
I tell you what, according to the history, just review the history, you will find the Islamic, it was a good history treating the Jewish in really a very good manner. So I believe, just return back to the history. Even though when Caliph Umar al-Khattab, he came to Jerusalem, he stopped all the aggression about for non-Muslim. First the Christian and the Jewish. This is just return back to the history. They are in a way or another. If you treat people, as I mentioned to you, in equally in justice and democratic, everybody will be living in a good state without a problem, even the Islamic people.
Wow. That is absolutely shocking.
And also, I have to mention that Umar ibn Khattab let some families from the north, they were in Tiberias, to return back to Jerusalem.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm talking about Hamas.
Okay. According to also Salah ad-Din Ayyubi, let families to return back to Jerusalem. And the special doctor of Salah ad-Din Ayyub was Moshe bin Maimun. He's a Jewish.
Yeah.
And,
Just ask Ilan Pappé. Just he wrote in this issue for the New History that people who hosted the people who came to occupy Palestine, and they took care of them better than the Zionists who brought them here.
Yeah.
Just listen to Ilan Pappé, you know.
Yes.
And,
I interviewed him once.
Will
Ilan
say
Pappé.
some points in this regard.
Okay. Ofra, any final words?
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Okay, it has indeed been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. And for that, I would like to say to all of you, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Good luck. Thank you.
Bye-bye.